Good morning, Flosstube. It is Monday, April 9th of 2018, and you want to know how I know? I had to look at my calendar this morning. I was totally unsure of how far along in April we are today, because time is just going by so fast. And last week I was looking at my calendar, and I just have a little 12-month at a glance printed next to my computer, and I like to mark off the days as we go along so that I know where in the year that I am. And I, at the beginning of last week, marked off the whole first week of April because I thought we were in the second week of April. So I'm obviously living in some kind of a twilight zone right now, just not really sure where I'm at. So I looked at my calendar, so I know that today is April 9th, 2018. It's a Monday morning. Rained all weekend, wind gusts were high. Somehow we managed to only lose power briefly, which is wonderful and rare. We have a lot of trees out here, and all of our power lines are above ground, so if the power goes, or if the winds are high and it's raining, you can almost expect that we're going to lose power, but we didn't, which was fabulous. But today, it's really nice outside. I'm looking out at partially blue skies, and the rain's supposed to come back tomorrow, so I plan to get out and do a couple of important things that have to happen outside today. But what I'm here for today specifically is twofold. One, coffee first, to introduce my new designs, which I will be sending out to my automatics and my distributors this week. Automatics will get in the mail this afternoon, I'm hoping, if all goes well, or tomorrow morning, worst case scenario. And then I will list them in my Etsy shop. My plan is tomorrow. Distributors will go out by the end of the week. But I'm excited about them because April is the month of bees, and which are near and dear to my heart. I'll tell you a little more about that later. I am going to announce the winners of my giveaway from my last video. If you remember, I showed you, if you haven't seen it yet, go back and watch it. There's two of my older designs, one pretty old, the other one not so old, that I thought got missed, and I showed them to you and talked about them. And then I'm doing a giveaway, or a gift away, I don't have the lingo down yet, of copies of the charts. And one of them was Let It Begin With Me, which released at the same time as Coffee Quaker. So Coffee Quaker stole the show, and this one didn't get the recognition that I thought it deserved. The other one is from a few years ago, and it's called No Cross, No Crown. And it's a reproduction of an antique sampler from roughly the Victorian era. This is the reproduction here. This is the antique. Anyway, I had everybody comment on my last video, which is closed now. I'm sorry if you're just now hearing about it. I will be doing more of that in the future. Every couple videos or so, I think I'll pull out one of my older favorites and talk about it, and then do a gift of a chart. So I don't know, let's just do that part first. So I happen to live with two random generators, my children. And so what I did is I went through all of the comments, listed out the names of the people that had asked. I specifically said choose one of the designs, made a list, and then I had my kids, without looking at the list, choose a number between 1 and whatever the total was. So we had 86 of you were interested in the Let It Begin With Me chart, this one, and 52 of you in the No Cross, No Crown chart. And it was way more than I expected of you interested. So I had my kids pick 2 names for each one instead of 1, which was my original plan. So for Let It Begin With Me, my kids chose number 52, which was Holly Hintzman, and number 25, which is Faye Harris. And I will be contacting each of you by all 4 of the people that I'm gonna send charts to today. I will reply to your original comment on the last video to get in touch with you. For No Cross, No Crown, my kids chose number 10, which is Terry, the Old Needle Shop, and number 23, Tara Ward. So congratulations. I will be getting those out in the mail to you very soon. Probably along with my first shipment of the new designs when they go out. So, a little background on me if you don't know. I started after years of longing to be a beekeeper for really no specific reasons. I've just always been fascinated with honeybees and wanted to have my own hives. And so not this Christmas, but the Christmas before, my farm boy got me a starter kit from our local coastal farm supply for my first hive for Christmas, which was probably the best Christmas present I've ever been given. And so last April I went and I picked up my bees, and I learned so much throughout the course of the year, just watching, observing, opening up the hive to see, you know, what goes on inside, learning all about beekeeping through books, YouTube videos. I just nonstop research. And I had a series of things happen throughout the year that you're not supposed to deal with your first year of beekeeping. My queen vanished. Don't know what happened to her. I know for sure that it was not something, well, I guess you can't know for sure. I'm fairly positive that it was not me. Sometimes they'll get knocked off the frames and they can't get back up again. But I never actually lifted the bottom frames or took them out of the box. I would just lift them and look at them. And then when I spotted the queen, I was super careful to make sure she got back in where she started. So I'm not sure what happened to that first queen. It was only maybe a month into beekeeping, if I remember right. So she could have been poorly from the start. I don't know. So then I watched the process. I'm trying to decide, do I order a new queen? Do I let the bees naturally do their thing? And they did. And I found the little queen. You can tell a queen from the regular babies in the hive based on the fact that the little chamber protrudes out, and it kind of looks like a little peanut has been stuck onto the face of the comb. So I watched the process as a couple of new queens were formed, and actually saw both of them one day after they had emerged. They were both simultaneously living in the hive, and then the next time I went back, there was only one queen. So they had fought it out, and one of them won. During that process of raising the queens, you go through this very disheartening period where the eggs that were laid by the previous queen are hatching out, but no more are being laid. So your numbers dwindle down to very low. So, I just kept an eye on it, and everything went fine. And then we have this wonderful new queen, and she was laying, and everything was doing really well. And then it was late summer, and we had some really hot weather, and I could not keep the hive cool enough. I had it shaded, I had damp sheets, and regardless of what I did, a whole bunch of the brood died inside their chambers, and that really set the hive back. And then we had another heat wave come through simultaneously with some really bad air quality conditions. from wildfires in the Columbia River Gorge. You probably heard about it on your news channels because it was a pretty big deal. The Columbia River Gorge is, as the crow flies, about 20 miles away from us, and the winds were blowing all of the fire this way, and or not the fire, the smoke, and it was really bad. Lots of people in the hospital for asthma related. Anyway, heat and smoke, you may not know, but both things cause bees to be really uncomfortable, can kill them. They're in alarm mode, and typically a queen is so large she can't fly, but this was a young queen, remember. So I was checking on the bees, daily. They had a canopy over them because I didn't want to, whatever I could do to make their life comfortable. Fresh water multiple times a day. And from one day to the next, my bees ran away from home. It's called absconding. They determine together that this home is not safe. We need to go somewhere else. So they left. I was so sad. We looked. They'll often swarm and they'll be in a tree branch somewhere, but we live in the forest. And we looked all around the perimeter, couldn't find them. So I put out a bait hive to try to lure them back, which didn't work. And I had to concede and just shut everything down. I went through the hives that I had, all of the frames, and I took off the old beeswax that had come with my bees, kept all of the fresh wax, got everything all stored away, and it's just been sitting in my pump house waiting for the day to come. So I get to try again, and I'm going to have 2 hives this year. In retrospect, that's possibly a mistake that I made, because if you have a weak hive, you can actually, and a stronger hive, the stronger hive can help the weaker hive by moving frames of brood back and forth. There are ways that you can keep 2 hives going, probably easier than just having one. So anyway, I'm excited. So in honor of April being bee month for me, I have some bee related designs that I'm going to release. Oh, by the way, this fabulous mug I found through Instagram. The artist's name is Lou Tonkin, and she's over in the UK. Isn't that beautiful? She does all of the woodblock carving. I'm not sure what medium she uses, and then sells prints. Loutonkin is her name. I'll try to remember to put a link below. This mug is China, so it's really strong, and I just loved the bunny and I think wild rose pattern on here. Oh, there's little strawberries right there. Anyway, just love this mug. So I am going to also be listing my Prairie Life sampler in my Etsy shop. It will, when I release the others, that sampler will be removed from its exclusive status that it has had since market, and it will become available to everyone. So any shop, if you've been waiting for your shop who didn't go to market to get it in stock, they can order directly from me or from the distributors. Those orders will be going out along with the new designs to distributors. I have a couple of shops on auto that were not at market, and so they'll be getting theirs in the mail. Any shop can order directly from me or can go to the distributors. I was going to have that sampler down here and show you, but it's up in my daughter's bedroom and I forgot. So that's good news for some of you. So I have one that's called, drum roll please, here it comes, Garden. My children just gave me a drum roll in the other room in case you wondered what that noise was.
Said drum roll.
They're They are homeschooled 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I'm videoing with my kids in the back room. All right. So this right here, I found at one of my local craft stores. It's meant to be decorative. I'm going to look right through it. But this is the carrier that I actually used all last summer to carry my beekeeping supplies in. It was the perfect size to hold, you know, my gloves, my tool, my hive tool, my little brush, everything fits in there. And I thought it would be good for mounting, which this is not going to stay on this box because I plan to use this box again and I don't want to ruin my needlework. But I have, ta-da! It's called Bee Garden. I'm not sure if that's focusing in on it or not, but it says, if you need me, I'm out in the bee garden. And I think probably my ultimate way of displaying this will be to have some sort of like a wire hanger or something, and I'll hang it on the doorknob when I go out to the bee garden, just for the fun of it. I have echinacea over here, purple cone flowers, which bees love, sunflowers, which are great in the late summer. The bees absolutely love those. I have lavender, which if you've ever had lavender growing at your place, you know bees love lavender, and bee balm, another favorite. These are all perennial plants. These are all plants that are very hardy that you could plant at your house. Very little maintenance involved depending on your climate, and they feed the bees. The bees will absolutely love them. So I don't talk about those specific flowers in the chart pack itself. I just encourage everybody to plant a little something for the bees. And then my other new release is in my Festive Little Fob series, number 4, and it's the Beekeeping edition, of course. So I'm just going to one at a time. I've got 9 little fobs here that I'm going to show you. We have a strawberry with a large bee on it. A smaller strawberry. This one has bee balm and a tiny little bee. These are all of these fobs are designed that you can finish them however you want. I've seen some really creative finishes out there on Instagram, Facebook already. Little pillows, little needle books. They don't have to be finished the way I finish them. Here's a little medallion with bees all around the outside. Here, in every one of these editions, I tend to have something random growing out of a pot. And in this case, it's a beehive. I have another little queen bee, a little pot with borage and a bee. Borage grows wild down by my hive and is one of my bees' very favorite flowers. This one has a little borage and a little bee balm and a bee. Here's another one. These are all meant to be interchangeable with the others in my Festive Little Fob series. That's the final one. So I'm pretty excited to put those out there for you all to purchase. I hope you like them. Let's see. What else do I have to do today? Oh, I want to show you, first of all, isn't this cool? So the cool thing about bees and beeswax, that's actually upside down. When my bees built this, this was the last frame that they started working on before they stopped building comb last year. And I just love this thing. You can tell the darker areas, they actually had brood in there, baby bees. And then this one, where it's lighter, they had just honey in there. Changes the color of the wax. But I am going to be able to put this in my my new hive, and the new bees will just build right on the work that the old bees created. It actually makes them feel very comfortable to be in a place that has had a hive living before, as long as the frames are disease free, because it's like moving into a nicely furnished apartment. They're like, ooh, yay, there's been other bees here. It's welcoming, it's comfortable. I'm just gonna make my own home improvements and now it's my place to live. I've been doing all the finishing work on the fobs, and one of the finishes I've done is just a simple braid of floss, 6-strand floss, and it has taken me back to the days when I made friendship bracelets like crazy in middle school, elementary, maybe 5th grade through 7th grade-ish or 8th grade. Was very trendy back then. And I used to take a safety pin and I would pin it to the knee of my pants and I would just braid. And I just don't care to do that anymore. And so I was having all kinds of scenarios where I was pinning the end of the braid to a pin cushion, but then it was sliding all over the place, trying to figure out what in the world am I going to do? I need something heavy so that it doesn't keep sliding. So I got smart. And I have this basket. It's just a vintage basket of some sort with a lid that many years ago I took a piece of an old, really worn out hooked rug and I put a little edge on it, and I'm pretty sure I just sewed it right to the basket top. The basket lid was originally domed and it had kind of collapsed. And so I attached this and there's padding underneath it, and it's just kind of been sitting around not really being used. And so I have just a hat pin with a big head that I stick in the top of it at an angle, and then I can pin it through the knot at the end of my braid or loop my braid around it. But the very clever part, if I do say so myself, is I went on Amazon looking for some kind of weight, and I found diving weights, which I didn't know were a thing, but I got this. It's by Sea Pearls, made in Peru. It's a 3-pound bag of what is probably like lead shot, and I just set that in the basket, put the lid on, and it is the perfect weight. I can put it on my counter and braid to my heart's delight, and it holds itself in place. So if you have that problem, there's a good solution for you. I also have a little piece of felted wool that I pin my dead needles to. That goes in there so nobody gets poked. And that's about all that I have for today. But I had so much fun reading all of your responses to my question last video of how do you celebrate or not celebrate Easter. It really helped me feel a little more connected to my viewers, since most of you I've never met before or heard your name before. So I thought I'd ask another question. And that is, most of us probably collect or have a collection, whether it's intentional or not, of embroidery scissors, old or new. And I'm wondering if you display them, and if so, how do you display them? I am going to try a new trick and see if I can figure out how to insert a picture into a video. And it's going to show you how I display my scissors. It's a old spoon rack that my husband got me for Christmas one year, and it works perfect for my antique scissors. None of them are high value. They're just old and beat up and wonderful, and most of them probably would not cut anymore, but I like them. And that's how I display my scissors. I've seen some of you using flower frogs for them. And anyway, tell me all about your scissors, or your lack thereof. And that's actually all I have for you today. 25-minute video. That's not too bad. I want to show you, before I say goodbye, what's behind me. Over here You see this lamp, that's my stitching chair. It's kind of dark back there, but this brown chair is the most comfortable chair in the house. Got a light right over my right shoulder, and then right here on a little stool is my laptop, which contains all the magic because I can access YouTube and Netflix. So it's either Star Trek or some other rerun of some other favorite sci-fi show. Right now I'm watching through Voyager. I also am watching The Walking Dead. I recently watched The Expanse. Both of those shows I don't recommend if you don't like things that are very intense. But Voyager is good for anybody. And then I also do a little bit of watching of Flosstube videos from time to time over there. And then on the other side of me, you see there's the stairs going upstairs in our little house. And we have this closet. You know, the under the stairs closets with the sloped roof and really weird shaped space. Years ago, we're talking beginning of marriage, when we got our first computer, we didn't want it just out where everybody could see it all the time because it's just not pretty. And so I said, what if we use that closet? Oh, look, there's kiddo number one.
Hi, YouTube.
Hey buddy, would you open that door for me? Oh, you probably can't see. My farm boy... No, that didn't help. You can close the door again. Thank you.
Hi.
He built in a desk. So, you know, as the under the stairs closet slopes back, you know, there's all this space at my toes and all of my Christmas storage is pushed back under there. And then we've got the desktop. And then up here where it's sloping back and almost grazing the top of my head, there's some little cubbies that progressively get a little deeper where I keep, you know, software on a CD and pencils and that sort of thing. That's my office. Yes. Yes, my dears, I do my work in a closet under the stairs. I think I might be related to Harry Potter in some way, although I have yet to discover any magical abilities. That's where I design, right there. That's where I stitch. And now you know a little bit more about me. I hope you are doing well and enjoying your spring, and stitching every chance you get on things that you love and enjoy. And I wish you all peace and happiness and contentment until we see each other again.